And when you join political parties, you're going to be in the mix with all sorts. But the thing that sets Peter Obi apart is when he joined, there's so many things he did to make sure that his name stands apart. Even his process of winning office, even going to the court to make sure that he wins election. I mean, he's the first governor to have achieved that. All of those processes, even the court cases that came with that, set us on the path we are in today for people to reclaim their mandate. So this man has successfully set himself apart. It's not about where did you participate. He has to. We keep telling people, don't fold us. You don't say it's only bad people. If you don't participate, it's only the bad people that will participate. And then when they participate, you're like, oh, they're a member of the old guard. He had no choice. This is the route he had to take, the conduit towards good governance, and he delivered.
How have you found it? Because I know you've been in politics for a while, and it's perhaps unprecedented that a party of this nature would have this kind of attention without a merger or an alliance. So how's it been for you this past few weeks?
It's been hectic. I mean, expectedly, it's been hectic. I mean, I'm used to speaking on TV. I've been an analyst and all of this since my 20s. So, but nothing prepares you for this. I think I and Nana are basically the first set of women to do this kind of job officially. We've been at it, and I think that the most important thing here is, look, Peter Obi, I see that other people have time to play games and throw words back and forth, but my job is to market Peter Obi. My job is to remind people why this is, or inform and remind why Peter Obi is the best candidate, and that is what I turn up to do every day.
Oh, great. So,
you know, at the time you have to canvass for funds. It's such a capital-intensive thing, and that is why I appreciate what Peter Obi is doing with the Obedient movement, what the Obedient movement is doing. They've taken a lot of the weight off the money politics of Peter Obi's neck. That's what happens when people are passionate about an issue.
you know, tied to that is the fact that the argument that Peter Obi is still part of the old order isn't dying down any soon. So how do you react to concerns that there's nothing different from him, considering the fact that he used to be a member of the PDP? I think the straightforward question would have to be what distinguishes him from the others, considering the fact that he used to be a part of it.
I used to be a part of the PDP too. So here, with respect to that, you know, of course he hasn't won elections under the PDP, but we're not going to treat PDP like a disease here. We're not. A lot of good people have come out of that party. We have seen the likes of Okonjo-Iweala. Why not being partisan, being somebody that has been employed under that party and has done well? A lot of good policies have come out of the PDP. So let's not throw that away, right? At the same time, we are looking at a system that people are upset with. People have looked at PDP and say, you have not done enough. You know, there are corrupt individuals in this system, and why should this person come from here? Whatever system you have, there will be people who can function. It's politics. Sometimes, you know, when we tell people, you know, we complain that good people do not join politics. But the truth is, when you join politics in Nigeria, I told you earlier on in this conversation, politics is a leveler. There are all sorts. And you have to roll up your sleeves and just join and keep going. What we would look at instead of, oh, which party did he belong to, is the antecedents of this person. What has he done? What are those things that are connecting people to this man? From education to insecurity to what he did in the health sector. All of those things. I mean, I know that this question is going to lead you to you asking me key points on this. But this is a man that has shown that. This man has built trust over time. You know, a lot of people from Anambra, and the call started from inside the house. A lot of people, I remember when this started, young people were posting, when I was head boy, when I was the best graduating student, this is what Peter Obi did. Look at the transformer he brought to make sure that our school was running on electricity. Look at the number of computers that he bought, to the point that HP even commented that, you know, this is the largest purchase you have seen in the Middle East and Africa. You know, look at the cars he bought to enable security during his time, to the point that, you know, three years, the last 3 years of his tenure, there was no armed robbery in Anambra State. Look at, you know, people have things to point at. There's also the part that, you know, his money management skills and how much he was able to live for a state like Anambra. There's an antecedent, there's history. People have seen this man like, yes, he participated in Nigerian politics, because politics is a conduit to governance. And you cannot say it, at this point, Terry, we do not have people who can run as independent candidates. And that's quite unfortunate. Again, in the activist part of me, we're still fighting for that. But while we don't have that, people have to join political parties. And when you join political parties, you're going to be in the mix with all sorts. But the thing that sets Peter Obi apart is when he joined, there's so many things he did to make sure that his name stands apart. Even his process of winning office, even going to the court to make sure that he wins election. I mean, he's the first governor to have achieved that. All of those processes, even the court cases that came with that, set us on the path we are in today for people to reclaim their mandate. So this man has successfully set himself apart. It's not about where did you participate. He has to. We keep telling people, don't fold us. You don't say it's only bad people. If you don't participate, it's only the bad people that will participate. And then when they participate, you're like, oh, they're a member of the old guard. He had no choice. This is the route he had to take, the conduit towards good governance, and he delivered.
When you look at the beginning of that interview, you will now understand why they are fighting Peter Obi tooth and nail to ensure that he doesn't have any party. These guys understand that Peter Obi in any party is already a movement. So you notice the question that the interviewer asked Indy about how that Labour Party did not have any measure, yet they were able to generate the type of attention that everybody was looking at. Now, the type of attention that they were able to generate. So you now know that these guys understand that Peter Obi is actually a movement on his own. So no matter the party, this man will just, bring life to that party. So you now understand why their concern mostly is how to stop him entirely. Because they know he doesn't even need any party with any structure. And that is the truth. And then the other one that she said was the impact of the Obidient movement in the campaign, which is actually well noted, because the truth is that the Obidient movement did a lot of work, and that is also part of their fear. And then on the issue of Peter Obi coming from PDP, one thing that people have to understand is that politics is not a church or a mosque or religious organization. It is politics. So, and then the Nigerian law has made it that you must belong to a political party. And that is the truth. And in that political party, there is a freedom of association. People come in. It is for you to now distinguish yourself, just like, what Kato was saying, that Peter Obi has actually distinguished himself, which is very important.
Let me ask you this question. I've listened to you talk about the need for people to do away with the conversational structure and talk about the need for people to ignore what transactional politics is, because that will not obtain with the Labour Party.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, considering the status quo, we cannot do away with what is visible or what the country is used to. And for many people, this is not something we can wish away. It does exist. How are you convincing the people in the rural areas who are practically used to being handed gift items, food items, in preparation for the elections? How are you able to convince them, or have you been able to convince them that without giving them that, they could have a better future if they vote for Peter Obi?
A lot of these people, we've gone beyond convincing. Many of these people are those who you should also be asking, so how are you going to be able to convince your next neighbor since you're a believer now? Because a lot of these people are part of those who are...
At the rural areas?
Yes.
Where they don't have electricity?
At the rural areas, that's sadly though that they don't have electricity and internet like the rest of us. I mean, that's a great group of Nigerians. But we've had people, at the rural areas. I've had calls from my village, in Jamal local government again, people saying, look, this movement has really blown around here. Everybody's speaking about Peter Obi. In places where Peter Obi has never been to, people are calling his name. So for those who have been converted, what we're doing is door-to-door campaign. Each one tell one, each one tell 10. Preach about this. And the good thing about this is you're not going with the normal, it's siyasa. I mean, this is Hausa. That's called politics in Hausa. Siyasa, come and just, support our guy. This is what we stand to benefit monetarily or anything. You have a key message. Whoever is going out actually believes. The person believes. The person is going out with no financial inducement on their own end, nothing to gain beyond good governance. And it is with that passion people are passing the message on. And as they are passing the message on, it goes on and it spreads like wildfire with that passion. So we have this door-to-door. Of course, look, every step of the way, Terry, people have doubted. People have said, oh, you people are just posting on social media. It's just social media. Where is it going to go from here? And then people like, you know what? First they said 4 people. And then it looked like, these people have now dominated the social media space. And then they said it's just social media. And then these people came out to hold all of these rallies, pulled people out without financial inducements, trekked for kilometers, dominated the space, made campaigning much more difficult for other political parties. Because after looking at that crowd, now you have to spend so much money on people who are not even happy with you to come out for you. So every step of the way, and this is the next step, that rural step. And, my point for the rural step is we're on it already. And the good thing about it is we're meeting fertile ground. Many people are already passionate about Peter Obi. Many people at the rural areas are willing to take this on without any financial inducement. Our work, 90% of the work has been done for us because people are willing. The ground is fertile. Everybody wants change. But we're not leaning back and saying, they are going to do it on their own. We're going to step further. And this is also a youth-led thing. A lot of young people have that energy, have that passion, and have the time to get this done. And people are doing it. I was at Zone 3 the other day, the shopping center in Zone 3. And I always like to ask the question innocently because a lot of these people will not recognize me, and who are you voting for? And I remember at that, the market men at that shopping center said they went an extra step to make sure that INEC brought registration to that place and ensure that everybody in the shopping center registered and they all know who they are going to vote for. So people are, people are taking a very serious.
I totally agree with you. But the people you speak about are the ones that are really close to civilization. There are those in the ungoverned spaces who have no idea how to cast a vote without getting something else in return. And I think that to an extent, some supporters of the Obidients movement, the Obidients, sort of understand that. Because I see that on social media, some of them are going the extra step to, on behalf of Peter Obi, make donations in anticipation, sort of understanding that, listen, these ones, you cannot explain to them. You cannot make promises without putting food on their table or putting some naira notes in their palms. So is that something that the Obedient movement, that the campaign council would encourage, despite the fact that it is one of those that you do not support transactional politics? One
of the things, what I've seen, and I think that is a good thing to do, is we are carrying out good advocacy and good projects for people. I mean, we're going to some rural areas, and while we're preaching to them, we realize that they don't have water. So instead of giving them cash, which is such a cruel thing to do, we solve a problem. And that's a problem that we would have solved anyway. So we're killing two birds with one stone. If you go to a rural area and they don't have that, that machine thing that pumps the water for them, that is part of the outreach. I mean, we're looking at creative ways of taking this message. So we're not going to insult them with take onions and give us your vote. Doing something that gets the entire community to come together and work on something while you push this message to them, it's a good thing to do. And I really like that these young people are using their own resources. My resources is entering inside too, to make sure that these things are done. We're preaching the message, we're getting things done in this community that years to come, they'll remember that, look, some people came here and they remembered us and they did something. And that is also showing that, look, when we win this election, these are some of the things to come, because this is all in a day's work.
Did you notice that if not for social media, we would have been in trouble in the Obedient movement and even the entire campaign and support for Peter Obi? If all we had was just the mainstream media, then we would have been in trouble, because these guys were just like the normal politicians. They were thinking the same. They were thinking about what they were used to. So this interviewer, he kept finding it difficult to agree that we were not inducing voters. So he kept going to their old pattern, to their old style of campaign, where voters would be handed over money for them to vote. And you could see now, and then the doubt, he kept doubting what we were doing. He kept doubting, where are we going here? How are we going to do this? Even when we had proven that we were more than 10 people in the room tweeting, we had come out, we had done our 1 million man marches, we had even started our campaign at that time, yet they were still doubting. So imagine if the only thing we had was the mainstream media. Thank God for social media. And that is why when you look at what they said about us in 2022, you now know that 2027, they may even say more. It's for us to ignore them and focus on the goal, which is Peter Obi becoming our president, so that we can experience a new Nigeria that is possible. Thank you for your time.